Welcome to this video on the Zenware channel. My name is Sri Satguru Buddha Rawa Bhagwan, and I'm the Kalki avatar. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how it's easy to lose your way in life, and how people can pride themselves on supposedly being holy or close to divinity or close to holiness or something like that, or divine themselves, or whatever they want to decide to identify as, but at the same time they do and make the worst mistakes that you can possibly make. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Sri Padmanabhaswamy temple. So Vishnu temple. All right, Sri Padmanabhaswamy temple in Kerala, right? So this temple, it's a Vishnu temple. It's the richest temple in the world because they have found vaults in the temple with much wealth, right? And there's even the legendary vault with the snake or naga doors or dragon doors, right? And the vault behind, right? So just to show you how even at a place that's supposed to be the house of God, right? The home of God, right? And more precisely, the bank of God, right? That's what that temple is supposed to be. But modern day Hindus have forgotten these things, right? Because it's a degradation of their tradition and the wishes of their ancestors and all these different things, right? So they've forgotten the reason for this temple, right? That this temple and the name of this temple, pad, what is a pad? Like a padlock, right? It is a bank. What is mana? What is mana? Energy, wealth, okay? And it locks the energy and wealth of Ba. Who is Ba? Bara, right? The story of Bara, right? The story of Vishnu, right? So it is the place that is the vault, the lock for the money of Vishnu, right? And it is the temple where people go for blessings and where they offer money to Vishnu. Now what happens is if you offer money to a god, right, well eventually that god has to have the systems in place to receive your offering, right? And it has to be useful, right? Or else it's a broken cycle of dharma, right? Because your offering is not useful to the god. So why would the god want to accept your offering? What does it really give them? Do you really believe those stories that the gods need your worship to exist? They are not true. The god is a god in their own right, and because of the grace given to them by the Adi Shri, okay, of their lineage of gods, okay, within the parampara in which they exist. So that's how it is. So why did they create this temple? They created it for it to be the bank for the avatar of Vishnu when he would come back, right? Because what happens is in India, the ancestors of the current Indian people, they knew a lot about the gods. They knew that the gods come as avatars. So what you want to do is you want the god to have everything that they need in their life to do their work and to enjoy their life when they come into this world and are identified. So what you do is when the god comes, you give them the key to their temple, right? And you know that God is one, right? But takes many different forms, right? So when the god Vishnu comes, right, the great god Vishnu, who's reclining on his couch, if you want to see it that way, okay, with all of creation under his command, well then that's the god of that temple, the Vishnu avatar. And why did they put those vaults, right? So that all the different generations of Indian people, okay, people of Sanatana Dharma, right? All the people of Bharat, right? So why do we call it Bharat, right? Well, think about the name, right? Sri Pad Mana, right? Baha, right? Bharat, Baha Swami, right? It is the vault of the Dharma, of the God of the Dharma, right? and it is his bank. So now we see the ignorance of the modern people who go into these vaults and they plunder the wealth of their ancestors and all the wealth that they put in the temple, which is supposed to go to the avatar of God when he comes. Right? And in their ignorance, they go and open the vaults and find wealth. Because they've forgotten in their ignorance and the degradation of the traditions of their ancestors and of the Dharma, that the purpose of this temple is to be a safe locking place protected by their people for the wealth for God when he comes as his avatar. And when he shows to everyone who he is. And everyone recognizes him and gives him the wealth so that he can use that wealth to have the best of all the generations of people when he was not there visiting. All put together. So that's why all the generations over time, over the thousands of years of people, they go to the temple and they offer the best of what they have to temple, to the vault, so that God will have the best of what they created and worked for and obtained in their life, in his life when he comes, right? And now in the ignorance of the time, well, what they do is they plunder the vaults, and when the avatar comes, they don't give him the key to his temple and to his vaults, right? So it's a degradation of the Dharma. This is why we call it the Kali Yuga. All the traditions have been forgotten. All the reasons for why we do things. All the real reason, all the real power of the tradition and the knowledge. And all, you imagine the ancestors of these people, okay, in India, how humiliated they must be, how ashamed to see their descendants plundering the vaults that they set aside and created for God and his avatar when he would come, and that when the avatar comes, they don't even recognize him, right? So very, very, very humiliating for everyone involved. And that's normal. It's the degradation of the Kali Yuga, right? Where we see these things and where they get called out. When the avatar comes, he calls you out. He tells you, look at you vault stealers, you plunderers, right? Who have no rights to what's in those temples, right? Because actually they were offerings by your ancestors, right? To the for basically the Kalki avatar, for Vishnu when he would come again, right? For the Vishnu coming back. So now you take from the vault, the padlock, mana, of the energy of Baha, of God, right? Maybe you interpreted it as your energy or your wealth, right? No, it's the God it's the money that your ancestors and the wealth that your ancestors put aside for the Vishnu avatar when he would come, so he would miss nothing. And now you plunder it not only from God, but you plunder it from your ancestors as well, and the reason that they put it in those temples, in that place. So if you're an idiot, keep opening the vaults, right? If you're an intelligent person, give the key to the God whose temple it is, right? And these things are fundamentally all the problems of humans and the failure that they even have in delivering their offerings. It's noticed by the gods, but it's nothing to surprise us, you know. So these are some of the truths about why temples exist, because they're meant to be a place to facilitate the link between the divine and humans. And when the divine comes, the divine should be well greeted, because when you don't, these things have repercussions. These are just the nature of things. There's also a wisdom reason why the ancestors of those people in India wanted God to have the best of all things. Because what happens if you offend God? And you give God nothing back, right? Well, then why would God keep working for you? If you have no love for God, why would God keep having love for you? And these are fundamental questions of life. Shri Satguru Buddha Rawa Bhagwan Ishwara Trimurti Avatara Shiva